time for a Q one-off. I'm actually enjoying these one-offs. It gives me time to think about, or time to talk about things that I necessarily don't talk about, in a daily basis. Because generally, I mean, you guys know, I do psychology lessons, lectures, reviews, things like that, but I don't have time to think about or talk about my particular jobs. I don't have time to talk about, world events and other things that happen like that. Well, I mean, I don't keep up to world events. Oops. But he's nice. First thing we're talking about is fair use laws. I'm going to stop right there for the moment, and I want to get the situation set up. So here I am, all snugly under the heater, watching Wonderbots and all of that. And they're talking about how somebody's anime review channel got taken down for doing One Piece reviews. I don't know anything about the creator or their content, and I didn't do any further research. But speculation from the comment section said that his reviews were so well formatted and out there that he essentially made it to where it felt like you didn't even have to watch the particular episodes because he was reviewing them that well. Thus, the viewership for One Piece, which has been going on for a long time, obviously is going to go down because people are spending more time on, this guy's reviews, which is a significant amount of people, especially when you're talking about two or four series. We're going to his YouTube channel and listening to his reviews because, they were interesting and picked out, the really good shebang parts instead of going through and watching, the entire, I don't know, 23 minutes is what the average or something like that, 15, 23, 30, I don't know how long One Piece episodes are. I stopped watching them after, what was it, Whitebeard died on the little snow place. However long the episodes are, instead of sitting there and watching the 23, you can get, a review over it. And if the review ends up picking out all the action parts and things that people that generally are impatient would skip through anyway, that's a view lost for the particular show. And when shows lose their viewership, they cannot renew seasons and things like that. For them to take an executive action to take his channel down and remove all content means that he had to have gotten pretty big. And as they were saying, he was a fairly big reviewer when it comes down to things like that. Anime's popular now, so obviously. The thing that caught my attention is one, he was a reviewer, and two, people were going into these long discussions about fair use and things like that. There are some common misconceptions, and I'm going to give you my general overview, understanding, and what I've been educated on fair use thus far. Now, keep in mind that the copyright laws that are part of the fair use policy are different if you're doing it non-profit wise versus profit wise. So those of you that are like, yeah, it's fair use to take somebody's things and then go over that and do reviews, and what he was doing is absolutely fair use and they shouldn't be able to take any legal action. The thing about it is he wasn't charging you guys for the particular reviews, but he was making a profit, aka off of YouTube. And it's even a double whammy because every view that he was getting off his reviews of One Piece creators were potentially losing. So instead of giving the view to One Piece and giving them, their piece of the pie, they were giving that money and viewership to another person and still getting the same content. Sound familiar? Like when people use Kodi or torrent something or anything like that. The websites that you're torrenting all of these files from illegally have advertisements and things up that everybody that goes in the torrent looks at. Some force you to watch and things like that. That's where they make their money at. They might not necessarily charge you. I mean, some do, but they don't necessarily charge you for these illegal torrents that you are doing to watch all of these new videos and everything for free. But they are making money off of a product that's already, monetized. They're already making money off of a video indirectly, just not from the person downloading it. I mean, they are because advertisement, but it's not coming directly from you, which is what makes that illegal because you are stealing and potentially getting, 20, 40, 60, 80, $100, but not if it's, a big banger only in theaters for the time being or something else. You're getting all of that money value for free. And the only thing you're spending is the time looking at the advertisements and download time on their particular website. So that is the situation that I want to bring up before we go through this website that I found. This website is just a generic website. Don't believe everything that it says, but some of the things that it points out are the basics of the copyright or fair use policy laws that everybody's harping about. So, as it says, all of this crap right here has been adapted from a particular short animation that somebody does. I'm not going to go over this entire thing. You can go to this website.com and type in basics of IP blog series and you'll probably find it. Anyway, the fair use provisions of Copyright Act allow you, and take this with a grain of rice, this isn't 100% true. There are obviously exceptions and things like this. But basically, allow you to copy and use copyrighted material for specific purposes. That portion of that is somewhat true. Some ways, some forms, and some things do allow you to copy and use copyrighted material. Not all copyrighted material is under the use of the fair use provisions of the Copyright Act. That's the kicker. Not everything has the fair use policy attached to it. You can't just find some random thing that you think is cool and then try to set it up as a review or something else and say, oh no, it's fair use when they come and bonk you on the head for it. Keep in mind that this isn't the end all be all. And I know a lot of people want to throw that out and say, oh, fair use, you can't get me. It's like you can. They absolutely positively can. Now, criticism and comment. Generally, this is where reviews fall into. You're going to give a criticism or particular comment about a particular thing. The thing about reviews is reviews fall along a specific category. And to be an accurate reviewer and have your stuff count as a review, you still have to remain, along a specific set of guidelines or you will get bonked. It is fine to criticize and comment over a particular thing. That is why those are up there. But it's not okay to run somebody's complete, thing, whatever they have copyrighted, run their copyrighted material across the screen and then give a review afterwards. Like, for instance, when I was talking about the videos off of Save Zach's channel about that shameful play that he did with the bubble play. If I was to run his video, pause, and then comment over it, and then run his video some more, pause, comment over it, run his video some more, and then get to the end and then go over what I went over afterwards, my video would be taken down if I received any type of monetization from it, monetization for it. So if I was a YouTube partner or something like that, and ads were being ran and people started looking at it and I was receiving money, they could take down my particular video. Because I am receiving money off of his video. Yes, I said some other things and fluffed it on the side, but at the main thing, video was the bulkhead, the statement, the staple. And if my criticism of his video gets more views than his particular video, because I showed the entire thing and then commented afterwards saying that it was shameful play, I'm in the wrong for that. That is not the correct way to criticize or comment over that. Now, if I would have took a snippet and showed at this situation right here, like a very small screenshot, they were staring at each other, and then took a screenshot of him standing in front of her and face camping her. Even a couple-second video of him walking up the stairs where he said that, and then coming down, and when he said popped his text on the screen saying that he was going to face camp her for staring at him. That's fair use. I can get monetary gain because the focus of everything is on my particular review, criticism, and comments, and it's not over the video. I'm not playing the entire video, from start to finish. I'm just commenting over it. Excuse me. It's completely different when you're criticizing somebody versus you are leeching the content off of them and then talking on top of it. It's completely different. Now, keep in mind that I said I can use the snippets and all of that to gain money. But if I want to use the entire video and all of that, I cannot do that for profit. I'm not a partner in YouTube. I can literally just pseudo jack his video, talk over it, things like that. I mean, he could say, copyright, copyright, copyright. Only thing I need to do is state that it was for educational purposes about teaching the terms of service about it, and I could counter him. Easy. As long as I'm not making money off of it, there's really nothing they can do. It'll go under education, and it will completely keep me immune for essentially jacking his video. However, I'm not using his video as a leverage to make money. I'm making no money off of it. Now, when I say jacking his video, I don't mean from start to finish, obviously. If you just copy and paste somebody's entire work, you're going to get copyright strike and bombed. But I can use significantly more than just a snippet here and there. I can show you the entirety of the situation that happened and get away with it, even if it's just a short. And I can get away with it. Heck, I could probably show an entire 30-second short and completely get away with stealing the content. As long as I'm not making money off of it. News reporting, obviously. Teaching, which falls under education, scholarship, or research. Research is one of the more important things. When people do research or any type of studies or etc., you have to use the information relative to you to, well, as it says, serve the public interest and things like that. All of these are, there's more than 4 factors, but all of these are part of these factors. The purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is the commercial nature or is for nonprofit educational purposes. Nonprofit is the key word there, and then educational purposes or nonprofit educational purposes. You can get something monetized and everything else just for being a paid educational purpose. However, you can't use their material pace mill. Like if you were doing a research on the research, education on the toxicity of, let's say, internet violence or cyberbullying, something like that. Education on cyberbullying. You post it on your monetized channel in YouTube and you used a snippet of him, a Bubba, or a survivor looking at his Bubba character and face camping him for that reason. Maybe you go to Roblox and you see somebody being toxic, you hear somebody say the N word on a Megal or something. I know it's a Meagle, but a Megal or Omi TV, you get on Facebook and then you see some other people being toxic and passive aggressive. And you pull content from different sources, small snippets, and then you formulate your research paper around them. It's fair use, even though you're getting paid for essentially using multiple different people's things. It's for education purposes and for awareness of toxicity on the internet. It serves the public's interests. And whether it's for profit or not, it does not matter. Anything that is deemed nonprofit educational purposes will always get a free copyright. Always. It is very hard to fight somebody who's doing something for not profit, for no profit. Copyright laws specifically were made to prevent people from making any type of monetary gain off of your work. It's not really made necessarily for them stealing your work, but it's made for them making any type of money off of your work. Because if it was made for people stealing your work, then all of the dumb science experiments and everything else that you do in school that isn't necessarily for educational purposes, you know what I'm saying, would be bonked. Any type of things YouTubers do would be bonked. All the meme clips and everything else that people make and throw together could be bonked. Because it would all be, anybody making a meme clip would have the original video that they steal anything from bonked. And if it's original, any other person that used their meme clips could be bonked. They would have to pay them money. It's almost like NFTing a meme or a meme video. So again, it's not necessarily made for stopping people from stealing from you. It's stopping people from getting money. Most times people will say, hey, can you at least credit the author? I mean, you're obviously blatantly stealing their work. Could you please at least credit them and cite your source from where you pull things from? Or I'll take your thing down. That is them personally enforcing their values on you. And if they do take down your particular thing, you could sue them because that's kind of discrimination, obviously, and prejudice. Unless it actually breaks copyright rules until you start making profit and it doesn't fall under anything here plus the other things. Again, you can do whatever you want. If I see, I don't know, Pokemon's a very good copyright. If I go out and buy an official licensed Pokeball and I take that Pokeball, I buy like 50 of them bitches, and I take that Pokeball and I repaint it, I sign it, I make it look better, I take the painting off, repaint it, add some additions to it, make it look all cool, or I can just leave it a regular ass red Pokeball that I sign. And I give them away on my channel to my viewers and things like that. That falls under fair use because it's a giveaway. I'm not by any time or any source of the way making money off of this giveaway. If anything, I'm losing money because I'm going to have to pay shipping and handling and all of that. So it's funny how they call it shipping and handling on some places because you're not paying for handling. The way they dog your goddamn packages and throw them out and fucking bang that shit, they should be paying you for handling and you should be paying them for the shipping. But it is what it is. That's why some places just say shipping. Anyway, as long as I'm giving the Pokeballs away, I've paid for them, and once you buy an object or item or whatever you want to say, it becomes yours. You become owner of it. It becomes yours to use for almost anything that you want to use it for. I can give it away. I can burn it. I can do whatever I need to do. Now, the gray line becomes if I take those particular Pokeballs as they come in and then I try to turn around and resell them under obviously my name and say that I created the Pokeballs and all of this, these are all mine. Sign them at the top and say, yes, I created these are mine, this is my product. I'm selling these for, double the price of a regular Pokeball. My signature's on it and they're mine now. Then things kind of go way to the left side. Because now you're trying to make profit off of somebody else's thing. You have the right to resell them, but you cannot make them yours. And it's very, very borderline on some things that you can resell versus things that you can't. Because you can't resell everything that you buy. There are laws that prevent you against some things. That once they are yours, they are yours. And if you do sell them, it's illegal. But the Pokeballs, for example, if you wanted to have a yard sale or anything like that, just to get rid of excess ones or post it on eBay or anything like that, it's fun. You say, hey, I have this, Nintendo, official Nintendo Pokeball that I bought from them. I'm selling them to whoever the highest bidder is. Completely fun. So there's always gray areas, there's always exemptions for every single thing that happens. Non-profit and educational purposes are your friends if you want to make any type of reviews, which I'm going to go over the review part aspect after I get through all of this fair use. And the nature of the copyrighted work, and I'm glad they put that as two. That is the thing too. Some things that the nature of the copyrighted work, for example, let's say an architect designs a building plan of something, sends it in, it's all, copyrighted, he gets it registered, everything else. This is his dream home that he wants to do. He shows it to a friend. The friend says, damn, I want this shit. And he somehow steals, copies, whatever the schematic is. And then he makes that particular house, frame for frame, word for word, board for board. Then once he makes it, he turns around and sells it for an extreme amount of profit, a couple of $1 trillion, because it's just that much of a masterpiece. Only one in the world's built, it's that just much of a banger. That's not acceptable. And the person who owns the blueprints, or the architect or engineer or whoever's making it, it'd be an architect because, well, engineers actually build structurally sound, stable, things that have practical use and highly efficient, versus architects are like the artist version of an engineer. Their things aren't always sound. Their things aren't always structured, but they look good. In that case, you run into a very big lawsuit because you have essentially stolen their idea and you made their idea a reality, but you didn't give them any type of money, credit. You don't have the license to this product that you're making. Even though he hasn't completed and built said product, he still has the copyright over the plans of everything. That is one example of the nature of copyrighted work. If somebody draws an art masterpiece, if they put it on the canvas, it looks beautiful. And you take that and you put it on a tablecloth or something, and then you resell it. And they went through, got everything licensed and things like that. Now that's one of the winning situations that you can actually get off of that, because the copyright is applied directly to their particular canvas art and their style of painting, but not necessarily of the work. Because if somebody takes something that you painted or did anything like that and they make a digital rendition of it and make all the lines and shapes and all of that unique. So you have your regular painted copy of a tree and they make this digital rendition copy of same said tree or artwork, then you would probably lose that copyright claim because they're not stealing your work. They're stealing the idea of your work. They're not taking it, piece for piece and shoving that into something and trying to sell it. No, they're taking a digital rendition, the art of your art, and then they're running away with it. They would win that copyright suit, and the original creator would lose, trying to say that that's just their art but changed up to make different. Well, generic versus original. Regular medicine also has generic medicine that's sometimes made by the same company, sometimes not made by the same company. Does the same effects, made the same, essentially the same pill, but different ingredients or different balances of ingredients, etc. And when you're coming down to things like cooking, you can make a pumpkin pie and I can make a pumpkin pie, but the ingredients and everything to make said pumpkin pies and the taste and everything are going to be different. Now, if I'm looking over your shoulder, copying, your family's patent recipe, and I make the exact same pumpkin pie, I can be copyrighted and I can be dinged for that. But if we're both just by each other with the same ingredients and we're all just throwing in whatever ingredients we have and they're not the same, they don't taste the same, they're not going to look the same, then that's not copywriting. Food industry would completely fall apart if they had super strict copyright laws, because whoever invented said food would be the only one that could sell it, and any other restaurant wanting to sell that particular type of food would have to pay an arm and a leg to get it. Like whoever buys the rights to, let's say, ice cream, all the other ice cream companies would have to pay that particular person in order to make ice cream, any type of flavor, any type of thing, or any type of ice cream. And that person would be, holy crap, rich. And sometimes they do have to pay royalties because there's nothing getting past a particular compound or something that somebody uses to create something. Anytime you have to use their compound to make your product, you have to pay them a 10% royalty of your particular product. It happens. So the nature of copyrighted work is very important. I'm glad they listed that. The amount of substantiality, substantiality, Jesus Christ, of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. I went over that earlier when I was talking about his snippet of video, monetizing it versus non-monetizing it. If I use his entire video as a whole, I can be copyrighted regardless of how much fluff I put around it. But if I use snippets of it, 2 pictures of it, I'm completely fine. How much of their content you're using. Which is where I think that's where that guy got dinged at, by the way, being a reviewer. His substantiality was way too high. Why did I have so much trouble saying, because it's like substance, and instead of saying that's ants, substantiality, substantiality. Why is that? Why was that so hard to say? It's like a tongue twister. Too many S's. 4, because I forgot what I was gonna say about 3. Brain went wonky there. The effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work, aka if whatever you're doing, which is the second thing that dinged him from the reviews that you are giving, are so in detail that people are not watching the actual show because your reviews are just better and they prefer to listen to you, you are eating up the market value for One Piece. You're taking views away from them, and if they make their market on views, you are a adversary to their work. That $10,000 you're making a month off of YouTube ads and sponsorships, well, 10,000 plus, you're making off ad sponsorships and things like that. They could be making that plus or times a lot more, 10,000 times whatever, based off of their ads and sponsorships and things, because they've been running a long series for a long time. That is their only source of monetization is views, and you are taking views from them on a very high scale. That will get you clapped, and that is one of the faux pas or one of the extreme no-nos that you want to do as a reviewer of something. And the rest of this doesn't really matter. This goes over other cases, things like that. You can go to this website and find out any general information. Because I don't want to get my stuff clapped for using theirs on somebody else's. Remember what I said about education? They do have limits too. They can only pick, a snippet or something from something. They can't use the entire thing. It goes same with the news and everything else. They can't use everything post-mill. Oh, well, I never switched screens, which is actually great that I didn't switch screens. Because my video could have gotten clapped. Everything that I was talking about, I pretty much said. Obviously, you're not going to be able to read unless you go to the base or MICHELSONIP.com. Mitchell's on IP.com. And then, or search Basics of IP Blog Series 8. Is it fair use or infringement? With a question mark. To find this article. I'm not going to put it into the description or anything like that. And I'm glad I left the discussion topics up because I could have gotten clapped because I did show the entire website. And I'm using it for material, even though it's for nonprofit. Don't want to get my video clapped talking about, copyright material. I doubt they're going to, but Now, what I would like to talk about is being a reviewer, which this guy stepped into being in the lines of being a reviewer. There are 3 types of reviewers. Nonprofit reviewer that literally just, kind of participates in it's almost like a research studies, but it's not because they're just the only one doing things and giving their opinion on it. They generally go with charities and things like that, and they aren't paid. Those are your non-profity types. You have your payroll reviewer. Yes, I'm kind of making up these terms because I can't think of the actual terms. A reviewer that is on payroll, that is paid by a company to do reviews. So you're working for that company and working for whatever company that pulls you. And then you're a freelance reviewer where you go and review whatever the crap you want to. You can review any and everything that you want at any point in time. And depending on what you review, could bite you in the butt. Or you can just go on and do whatever, needs to be done. 3 different types of reviewers fall under 3 different categories, and you have to watch what you say. But all of them come with a basic syllabus. They're just tighter if you work for a company versus whether you don't. um, you know what? I don't have my other discussing topics thing set up, but I do have this one just for a change of pace. But I really don't want people to skip ahead. This, by the way, that you're going to see on screen is part of the map that I was working. That's more of the fully assembled map. Well, not fully assembled, but as I was working on it, as it was being assembled, Everything that you see on screen, I have pulled apart and put in different zones, but I figured I'd slam it all into one thing best I can to give you kind of a view of what I've been working on. Yes, it looks like a jumbled mess looking at it from there, but that's just a small look of everything that I've been working on. This is Roblox, that project. Whew. I can actually adjust this to come here. I can just... No, 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 no. Pull this as far as I... Excuse me, not that way. Pull this here. Like that. In there, discussing something instead of discussing something off topic. Skip ahead. There. Discussing something. It looks jank, I know, because everything's all zoomed in and pixelized and all of that, but you can get a closer look. The two towers you see in the very back are a team deathmatch map. The thing you see in the very bottom in the black area is a map called the Pit from Torok. The thing above that pit is a vibe bar, a vibe outside area, a hot spring. It's got a dance floor. It's got a very small vibe patio area. I see a lot of vibe places where you're stuck inside. So I wanted to make like sort of like a vibe city to where you can go to different places and different buildings. I eventually want to have like a mini like vibe like airline type thing that sits on top that you can kind of control and drive around the map, but that's a lot of programming that I don't necessarily want to do at the moment. But yeah, there's vibe area. To the right was gonna be like a GTA city, and then it's gonna be a role-playing city. I said screw that, and then right underneath the discussing is a capture the flag arena. So those of you that have been curious, that's what I've been working on. And then to the right, there's a prison and a police station and armory, and a secret. But anyway, if you are a non-profit reviewer, you are a puppet of the company. You do not have a large amount of things that you can say, or they will get rid of you and get another one. The person that is a non-profit reviewer is just somebody they ask ideas to to see whether or not. So it's sort of like an advisor to say whether or not, will the general public like this? Do you particularly like this? Do you care? Do we need to change this or that? Is this product worth going on? We need you to test this product and let us know because we're going to try to use it during the show. Let us know if this is even interesting, anything like that. It's just somebody kind of on call. Their opinion matters, but it's not hugely impactful. If they say that this sucks, the audience isn't going to like it. They'll try and find something else, or they'll hand them another object and be like, "Well, review this, test this." On the flip side of the nonprofit reviewer, which I've done a couple of them, and I didn't really like it, the nonprofit organization will try to have the reviewer come in and essentially state how well or review the facility and how things are running, how the easeability of checkout and the websites and things like that to make sure everything's easy to navigate. You can get a hold of people if you need to, etc., etc. I mean, it's a job. it sucks because, well, they generally just want a very, very basic syllabus that they give you, and you walk around with a check sheet, essentially checking things off. And once you finish the particular check sheet, you give them closing statements of, what you particularly think about it. Very like small couple of minutes, and then you send it. Very boring. You don't get to, spitball. You don't get to say what you actually think till the end. By that time, most of them don't really listen to what you have to say unless you're a relevant and you have a very high review score. Like me, for example. Not bragging, but yeah, I got 4.5 out of 5 stars in my review. I've worked a long time to earn that. It's got nothing to do with me being better or anything like that. It's just me being experienced. But you really don't have a lot of wiggle room in what you can say when it comes to nonprofit things. You do the checklist, they go over the checklist, make sure everything's piecemeal, and it's go. You don't get to provide any input. You don't get to make any changes or anything unless the system's broken or something or hard to navigate. You can stop and say, I would maybe put a link between here and here so you don't have to go back 3 pages in order to find that again. Small comments like that sometimes fly through, but you don't get a large say. Now, when you're paid by a company and you're essentially sent to other companies that request you, you have a lot more wiggle room. You have to remain respectful to the company, and you have to ensure that your reviews don't get in the way of their profit margins. They didn't hire a reviewer to sit there and give them a bad review. So if the only thing you have to say are negative things, they are going to throw you to the side and get another reviewer. They want a fair, but they want an actual accurate assessment of everything going on. And that's all they ask is for you to be impartial. If you turn the product on and the product blows up, they don't want you to say, well, this product's a piece of shit, guys, don't buy it. They want you to be fair and say, oh, well, I must have gotten, a bad product from the shelf or something like that. It happens. Don't doubt the product's, authenticity because one of them just happened to break on me. They want you to be professional about it. Then when you get another one and you turn it on and it works fine, and then they want you to say, see, you know, sometimes you get a 1 in a million dud or something like that, or maybe somebody dropped it because it's been sitting around, all day waiting on reviews. People play with it and somebody might have dropped it or bumped it or something like that. This new one is fresh out of the package and you watch as you open it. Look how much cleaner it is. Things like that. Point out, it's good to feel in the hand. You turn it on, you use it. Show how it functions, how it operates, and give them a good review. Or not a good review, a impartial but fair review. If you have extremely long hair and it's not made for extremely long hair and you try to use it and you're a dummy, even though they advise you not to, and it gets caught in your hair, then you need to state that, they warned me before you do it, they warned me that if this is used in long hair, it's going to hurt and it's not going to function properly, but I'm going to do it anyway, just for, just for the data. And you shove it in your hair and it does something weird, or if you use it in an improper way and it doesn't work right, you say okay. Or if it does manage to work right, then they'd be like, it still sort of works right, but you ain't really got to worry about it. If you have some semi-long hair, your hair is not going to be pulled out. Or, if your hair is going to be pulled out, you let the public know that, They state multiple times, do not use on long hair. This can harm you if you use it in long or on long hair. It's why I'm not reviewing the product in my hair. My hair is too long. Just be fair. Just be lenient about things. You're reviewing the product, not the company. Don't say this is a shit product from a shit company and all of this other stuff about and go on a rant about how bad this company is because something didn't suit you right. You're not there to review the company. You're there to review a singular product. Sometimes you get like 3 all the way up to 10 to 15. But generally, you're just there to review the singular project. Keep your mind on the project. If you want to talk about the company, list some things like, they've done charity work or anything like that. Or state your specific reasons why you accepted this particular review. If you have anything good to say, don't say you accepted it because you needed money, because people are going to know you were just bullshitting them. There's a lot more leniency when you're under a company, but you have to follow their specific guidelines. If they're supposed to be made, you have 15 minutes to do this review, you only have 15 minutes to do the review. If they say, while you're in the review, you need to make sure you go over these particular things, because that's what the company wants a review of, then you go over those particular things, and then you fill the gaps with whatever you want. So you're still on a sort of leash, but you have a lot more leash and a lot more things that you can talk about and a lot of more things you can say without the backlash. Now, when you are a freelance reviewer, which is what that guy was, you have to keep in mind that everything that you say, especially when you get big, is being monitored by somebody and the companies that you are reviewing. And if you step on the wrong tail, you will be shut down. Being a reviewer is one of the most tense, though a freelance reviewer is one of the tense things that you can do. While you're reviewing, you don't want to step over the line to where you're taking money from whatever you're reviewing. You have no association with the companies or anything like that. You are a direct rival. If you like the products and all of that, maybe they'll send you free products, things like that. Or if you like the anime, maybe they'll send you a poster for, bringing more people into it. If you have nothing bad to say, they will just shut you down because you don't obviously know how to shut your goddamn mouth. And if you start to steal views or money from them, they're obviously going to shut you down. You are the vigilante. You are the loose cannon in this situation. If you get too big and I start losing money because of you, you best believe I'm going to take every ounce and step of copyright laws versus everything else, and I'm going to do everything in my power to legally shut you down, especially if I have multi-million dollars. I'm going to hire the best lawyers and all of that, and I'm going to ensure that I win this, because money equals power in those situations. It's a shame, but I got to protect my business. No sense in letting something that's been going on for decades, die because somebody wants to make money off of, the clout of it. We appreciate everything you do to increase our clout, but when you start stealing the clout, no, 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 no. I want another couple of decades worth of, seasons pushed out. You don't do that. And that is one of the faux pas of reviewers that reviewers don't really know, especially somebody who just starts a YouTube channel that hasn't, which I don't know if he has or not. I'm just going to assume that he hasn't actually worked in the review scene. I'm going to assume, I don't know anything about him. I'm just assuming that he's just an avid fan of, I guess it was One Piece. And he just loved the series so much that he wanted to talk about it. And as he talked about it, other people that loved the series wanted to listen and talk to him about it. And then it got big, and they started talking about too much stuff to where they were reviewing or revealing, I guess, plot lines. And every other episode that comes out, they were doing reviews on them and having a fun time. But having a huge audience and spoiling something generally will get your thing clapped. When it comes to, let's say, let's players get the game and they play. Game developers, if they want to block let's players out, they will. They will incorporate things into their game to prevent, scenes from being recorded. They will put up a license or something that they have to accept saying that they're not going to record their game or, risk X, Y, and Z. When you buy the game, they'll make you sign another licenses. I mean, you'll be signing licenses when you buy the game. You'll be signing a license when you download the game. You'll be signing a license when you first launch the game, etc., etc. They'll have things inside of it to where you cannot screen record, you know, things using any of the popular apps, etc., etc. The game just will not let you do it. And there's a whole bunch of different ways that game developers, if they don't want other people, playing their games, etc., etc., or streaming their games, etc., etc., there's things that they can do to protect themselves. This is why let's players don't really matter or aren't really bonked unless, you're doing something in a game company that obviously doesn't allow things to be recorded ever. They want maximum profit margin and they don't want you recording their games. And if you do, they will copyright strike you. Not just copyright, they will give you your strike. That 3 copyright strikes, your channel's done, and you're done. That's it. 3 strikes, you're out. No more partnership, no more monetization, no more anything. So that's the difference between a reviewer versus, let's say, a let's player. Because I know some people are going to bring that up. Let's players show all of the content too, and they're making money off of it. What's the difference? The difference is they're allowed to. The other company hasn't smited their stuff, and there are games out there that people to this day still can't live stream about or anything like that without exclusive permission from the company, or they get clapped. Some people say that they don't care and they just do one gigantic stream of it. And anybody that joins the live stream or anybody that picks up the VODs quick enough can see the whole thing. They get their money. Well, they don't get their money. They get their stream money. And that's what they're doing it for, is the stream money. Because they know at the end of the day, that video is either going to be taken down or any money made off of it's going to go to the company. And they're going to receive a strike for it. But some things are just too good to pass up. Generally, the filters are good on YouTube and things like that. So unless they're breaking terms of service and trying to dodge the copyright strikes, playing an hour of the game, then deleting the VOD or just not archiving the stream. That's the way to get around it too, not archiving the stream. And every 10 minutes of play of the game, they put up, I don't know, some random video or a random screen or something and then take a break so the copyright strike don't hit them, to try to avoid that. Some people do all kinds of things. Wanting to stream a baseball or UFC fight to the fans. illegally, albeit illegally. You can easily get a hold of the UFC people if you want to stream a big fight to your fans, and you can get a license that you can pay for that allows you to stream to an unlimited amount of people, and you don't have to worry about your stream getting clapped because you have a respective license. I don't know why people try to be sneaky about showing content they're not supposed to show. Get a hold of the company and just ask them. Most companies that are strict about it, if you ask them, they say, yeah, you can go ahead and use it, buddy. Or they look at your channel and they say, I don't know, you're making, 3 million views a video, man. You got to pay us. You're too big, brother. I know you're going to make like 30 grand out of this. Throw us like 10, maybe 15 grand. And then stream away. But I mean, most have prices and, contracts and things like that already situated for low end YouTubers, middle YouTubers, and high end YouTubers. Well, streamers, I should say. Content creators, there you go. And if you just ask them, you wouldn't get these copyright stripes and all of these clappings and everything. That's what is the problem nowadays with most people. Is somebody starts this stigma that if you do this particular action, this is going to happen. And everybody else is like, well, hell, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to get in trouble. I might as well just do it anyway and make sure I get full value out of it. Fuck the stigma. Fuck what society says. Just ask. The worst thing they're going to tell you is, no, you cannot use our content. That's it. And if you elect to not listen, they're just going to clap your stuff like they clap everybody else's. You're not going to get in additional trouble by asking first. Not how that works. It's not going to be because you asked and we said no, and then you did it anyway. We're going to sue you and you're going to take even more damage from, like, no. No, it's not how that works. If they ask and they say no, don't stream our game, or if they offer you a license that you can't afford or don't want to pay, respect them. Don't get on an old channel of yours to try to evade a copyright strike and then stream the game anyway till you get clapped. Don't do it. Respect the creator. Respect the time and money and effort that they put into their product. If you're using an artist's work that's readily available, you have their name readily available, cite your sources. If it's a Google image thing, I mean, citing Google images as a source doesn't really do much. If there is no author connected to a specific image, they didn't sign it, watermark it, or, Google itself doesn't let you know where it's from. I mean, sometimes you do have to click on the link to find out who made the specific art. But I've had cases in which I just don't know who the artist is on some images, and I just say, fuck it, dude. If the author is truly unknown, then you can put, unknown artist or anything like that, or just leave it blank. And if people say, cite your sources, dude, you need to cite where you got it from. I mean, you can put Google images, but people aren't going to be satisfied with that for the most part. But I have no idea who the fuck made this art. They never signed their work. They don't have anything connecting them to their art piece. So it was lost in translation somewhere. It's not my responsibility to track down who the artist is. I looked at this picture on this particular website, which you can cite where you pulled that from. Instead of putting an artist down, you can put the link to follow to get to that particular artwork. That is another way of citing sources. That would be better than putting down Google images and citing your source. Because putting down Google images doesn't mean much, because generally Google images have an artist or something associated to it that you can find. But if you put down the link to get to that, anybody that's wondering where they can look at this particular person's art or any other art that they have near it, or if that particular person runs across it and says, where's my credit? They can click on the link, go to the Google Images, see that their name's not on there. They can get a hold of Google and say, hey, you're using my stuff without giving me credit. Put my name on that, and Google can fix the issue. Do what you need to be done to avoid and keep yourself from being copyrighted. Now, there are some things that, don't matter and you're going to get clapped for. Now, a UFC fight, you know that you're streaming to other people illegally. That's a different story. Unlike, streaming content. And like what happened to me, a 2-second song played during a goal explosion in Rocket League, and my video got clapped for it. Never in my wildest dreams I think that a goal anthem would get all of my videos clapped for having them activated, which I didn't even have on until one of the updates knocked that shit back on. All of my sound or any type of audio for music wise has always been slid down to 0. I got tired of getting copyright strikes from the main menu of Rocket League. And they do that shit on purpose because all of these songs are taken. They want to, anybody that makes content, they want to get money in off of it where they can. It's the whole scam Rocket League has set up with all of these creators. You give us a little discount and, we'll play your music in the main menu and we'll offer your anthems more. So anybody streaming, that anthem pops up, their archive is immediately clapped. And they have to deal with you copyright wise. The longer that shit stays up, the more money you can siphon. And people that have a very strong, basis, the people that are always there saying first and saying that your content's amazing and all of that, all of your first users and your OG people and the people that enjoy your content are paying them. And they're getting in excess of, a little bit of money per time they essentially scam off a person until they go back in and notice the copyright strike and get rid of it. And if you don't stay up on your copyright strikes like I didn't, because I didn't know a 2-second video like that could get me copyright strike. Anybody watching that particular video, that company is just making bank off of money on money on money on money on money. And it's all passive income. Even if it's 1 cent a day, 1 cent a day is still passive income. It's $365. Or no, it's $3.65. Sometimes $3.66 that you didn't have to work for, that came in passively. And if you think about that, and there are many people that stream Rocket League, and you're making $3 a year off per person that streams Rocket League or even says anything Rocket League wise, just 1 cent. That's ridiculous how much money you can bring in on the end. And it just passively just comes raking in. And it don't just stop at America or anything like that. That's anybody that uses the YouTube platform. So anybody connecting to YouTube from all over the world, where it's allowed, of course, can be feeding money into that. Crazy, huh? So, when it comes to reviewing things in particular, you don't want to review in super huge detail to where you're pulling value from the particular concept, unless it's like a Dead by Daylight creation review. Obviously, if they were implemented into the game, I wouldn't harp over things as much as they are, because if I had a very high following and people elected not to buy that particular killer, my reviews would then get clapped. Well, behavior really don't give a shit, but they can be clapped. And that is why when I go over particular killers and things like that, and behavior frustrates me by doing something stupid, I just kind of say, I don't know if that's a good idea or not, and I just kind of move on frustrated. And if it gets too bad, I say, well, life sucks, and then I just end the review. I'm not going to go up against a big company and get my entire, years on years on years, say like a decade's worth of content clapped because of a company. I ain't fucking with Epic and Rocket League. I ain't fucking with Nexon and Maple Story, and I ain't fucking with Dead by Daylight and Behavior. I know there is a limit in what I should and can say, and I know that my channel can be taken down at any moment, stepping on the wrong toes. It's why you cite your sources and say the things that I generally say. The Maple Story music, I don't necessarily have to cite the sources because Nexon's cool about that. But I do anyway because I've played Maple Story for what, like, I was gonna say like 2 decades now, but yeah, it's been a long time. Two roundabouts, almost 20 years coming up here within the next couple of years if it ain't already a thing. Going on around 2 decades, somewhere around there, between like 15 and like 20 years. So I've been with him forever, and I appreciate the original Maple Story staying alive, even though I don't play it as often. I try to play at least 24 hours a year. That's what I shoot for. A day out of a year is how often I generally play or put into Maple Story. Might not seem like much, but I mean, that's 12 months a year. I put 2 hours. If we break the 2 hours down into 4 weeks, that's about half an hour's worth of playing Maple Story a week. Anybody who don't play video games often, they generally spend about an hour a week playing video games. So that's half of their gaming time a week playing Maple Story. I sit down and just have extremely long sessions, but breaking it down at half an hour a week of playing the game ain't that bad. And if I could convince other people to put about half an hour of a week into playing Maple Story, a couple of billion people, trillion people, I don't know, the game would go strong. Just a half an hour a week. What's that? Seven? That's what? 4 minutes a day. That'll break down to about, well, let's say five. Pick it up 35. 5 minutes a day on Maple Story. But I mean, if you play 5 minutes, that's kind of like the introduction to get wherever you need to go. So I would definitely would recommend 30 minutes a play session. So the 30 minutes a week when you sit down, just have a long play session. Well, a short play session of 30 minutes. Because you're probably going to be spending 10 minutes getting to where you want to go, looking at all the new content, the quests, things like that. And if you're just now starting out on Maple Story 1, because I think 2 shut down, but Maple Story 1, the OG Maple Story, I guarantee you if you put half an hour into that game and you're starting out, you're going to be playing a whole lot longer than half an hour, because that game is very interesting. And the storylines of the characters and all of that are very well thought out and very well met. I want to do one final thing before the Maple Story server shut down, and that is to defeat Magnus. It can be normal, it can be the extreme, or anything like that. I mean, I already took him out on easy as easy, but I haven't even taken him out on as normal because the falling meteors are a pain in the ass because they do a percent damage instead of just hit point damage. One meteor does like 10%. It's the smallest one. One does 50% of your health, and one's an insta kill, which is like the purple ones, I think. So the big meteors will kill you if you touch them instantaneously. You have 10 lives, and I think Magnus has like 40 billion HP or something crazy like that. So it'd take my current build of a character, which only has Fafnir gear and all of that. It'd take him like, what, 10 minutes worth of non-stop pounding to take Magnus down. And I don't have full control over Kaiser's iframes because you can use the iframes and all of that to iframe through some of the meteors and movements and things like that. But you know, I don't play the game that often anymore to be able to hop on in and do what I need to do. Anyway, Maple Story's a good game, is what I'm trying to say. And as I said, as I'm concluding this stream, that's the only point I wanted to make. I should honestly jump on like Roblox or some shit and advocate Maple Story because the younger the person is, generally the more like putty they are, the mold. I don't care who plays it. I just want people to play it. Very high advocate. It was part of my childhood. I have one last thing to do before they decide to shut down servers, which as it sits, it's going to go on for hopefully a fairly long time because they're always introducing content to it. Things like that. But thinks anybody stops by, consider Maple Story. I don't even care about the content that I just went over, honestly. Consider Maple Story. That's all I ask. It might not be your cup of tea. I mean, most people see it as, any other anime dungeon crawler, things like that. That's out there. But, you know, I see it as a special light, especially if you have friends. I don't recommend playing Maple Story by yourself. Unless you are a solo person like I am and just don't really care about chatting with other people. Because there is grinding and item collecting and things like that to level up, unless you make a burning character. Burning events give you 3 level ups per 1 level up. So you can skip most of the grinding and all of that and go straight through story. So during any burning events, which they generally have active almost all the time, you can just hop in, level up super fast, get through the story, and get to whatever you need to get to. Well, I think the burning event stops you when you get to level 100, so you'll be able to boost your way up to level 100 fairly quick. Afterwards, once you get to the nitty gritty of the story where things get more difficult, and you start building up, the Black Mage and beyond, things just, all fall into place. If anybody does play Maple Story, you got around a level 200 character or something, hit me up because I do need help taking out Magnus. I really do. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it on my own. I don't play the game that often, and my skills are atrophying. I mean, I remember all the buttons and all of that, but back when I played the game every day, I still couldn't beat Magnus. So, being 50 levels higher and rusty as all heck, I probably still ain't gonna be able to beat Magnus. Anybody curious? Type in Maple Story Magnus fight. It's gonna be the normal version, not the extreme version, but just the normal version. The fight isn't necessarily hard if you're using the correct characters or if you're of a sufficient level. Because there's AoE characters that can just sit on the side of a map and just melt Magnus. There's other high damaging characters and things like that. I'm specifically using Kaiser, which is Magnus's enemy. You know, that's his exact counterpart to try to end the Kaiser storyline. Kaiser has a very interesting set of moves. He's not really a mob character. He's good at putting damage down on a huge amount of damage down on one target. Then he transforms into his dragon form, and then he can damage, you know, 3 targets at a time. You know, he has AoE attacks and things that you can launch, you know, every once in a while. But he really comes from his DPS or his damage output that he can put on a single target. He's a very good bosser. While other characters just do a decent amount of AoE damage to everything, full screen. So, I mean, you have mobbing characters that just clear a full screen, who you would really want to commission if you have any extra mesos, which is money, Maple Story, to help you complete gather quests and things like that as a Kaiser. I mean, I do them myself because it's not really that hard. You have a lot of attack and things like that to wipe screen and things like, or swipe screen and you know, pick up items, things like that. Especially if you have a pet with an item auto pick up on it, you just run them by and you can pick everything up. If you're interested in different characters and all of that, Ayumi Love, AYUMI space love. Ayumi Love is one of the top Maple Story content creators. She makes the game look exciting. She knows what she's doing. She's been playing it for a long time. Look her up. She will definitely get you interested in playing the game. She is just that damn good and makes it look that damn interesting. If you've been looking for like well, it's an MMORPG, but if you've been looking for a game to play that you can just go in, you know, have fun, and just let the stress out and all of that, hang out with friends, you know, without having to do, you know, think very hard. Because, you know, with Rocket League and things like that, I've played the game for long enough that I can just talk and play and put up a decent fight. But when it comes to, you know, Call of Duty, things like that, if you don't have experience, well, Rocket League 2 and Siege and things like that, if you don't have experience in the game and know what you're doing, it becomes hard to play at a high level and communicate with friends. You know, if you're making food or dinner or something, join a Discord call because Maple Story don't have voice chat. All of you join a Discord call, all of you can shoot the shit, and all of you can just go to one screen and, you know, have fun, level up, do events, things like that. And everybody can have just a hangout time. So, as much as I love the vibe servers on Roblox and things like that, you know, you can actually be doing things with your hands and having conversation topics and etc. as you're talking. Maple Story has a voice, or not a voice, a text to chat system, or a text system, you know, where you have the text bubbles that pop over your head and go in the chat as you speak. So people that do not have voice chat or anything like that, can still jump on and can say whatever they need to say. It's got a whisper, it's got a guild, it's got buddy, friends list, it's got all different types of categories that you can talk in. So, if you do run into that particular issue, you can easily get that done. They are, at least in my case, they are very quick. If you report somebody for cheating, they are very quick to get rid of the issue. They have active moderators all the time that go around doing things, and I've actually had throughout my years of playing, I've actually met a couple of the moderators. Very fun experience. They used to hold, back when the game was super popular, they used to also hold moderator meetups where they would have events and things with the mods. Very fun. Game is old, but I'm glad they're keeping it around. They've since then condensed servers. Oh yeah, speaking of servers, I'm part of the Elysium, Elysium, Elysium server set. Do not play Reboot. The most popular server to play on is Reboot because it's faster. But I do not play Reboot. I am an OG. I used to play Kahani, and that since then has been bundled up with Elysium, and I play Elysium server. That is very important. I wish I would have said that at the beginning. Elysium server. As you get into the Elysium server, you can play any of the like 23 channels, doesn't matter. I think there's like 23 channels now. All the channels are just different realms that you can play in. Obviously, most of the player base plays in channel 1. But if you want to go to a screen and you don't have to worry about, interacting with another person or getting in their way of their kills, you can just switch channels and play by yourself. Or if you want to meet your friends in a specific place, you don't want to be on channel 1, you want to be on a farther out channel. Everybody meet in the free market on channel 15, and everybody can readily access the free market from almost anywhere in the game. Well, any of the main towns in the game, and then you can all meet up regardless of where you are, set up a plan and all of that, chat, have fun. Day 1 of playing, they give you a hyper teleport stone, generally. So everybody will have a teleport stone. They can just open their map, double click on an area on the map, and everybody can just teleport to the same area and play together. So it's very quick to meet up. And even if you can't meet up, there's other ways to meet up without, if you don't have a stone. Like, for example, you can go to, I think like this is the path of crossing or the 6 paths of crossing, whatever. From any of the main towns, Hennessy's, Elena, whatever, you can go to the path where all of them, it's like a gigantic tree that you can climb up. And if you jump in the portal towards the top, the Pantheon portal, you can hop in that and then immediately hop back out, and it gives you the ability to fast travel to any of the main areas. So there are exploits. If you're an angelic buster or Kaiser, you can just teleport directly to Pantheon and then to do it that way. That's how I particularly travel when I don't have that. You also have the quest log if you've been playing for a while. If you press, I think the default button's like O or something, you can teleport to some of the areas inside of that if you've cleared them. If one of those are the meetup spots. There's a lot of ways to teleport. You don't really have to walk anywhere in MapleStory. If you're in a main town and needing to go to another town, you can use taxis and things like that at a very, very small fee to go from town to town as well. I rarely ride any of the boats and anything, and I do that for nostalgia purposes if I do. I rarely do that anymore. I remember being a noob going back from Victoria Island to Orbis and having the bull rocks pop up, forgetting about it and having to try to hurry up and run and jump in the cabin before I die. Those were good times. I miss that game. But I don't want to move on. I mean, there's probably other games that are widely popular that's literally just a copy of Maple Story, but I pay ode to the original. It always has a special place in my heart, and that's probably why I can't beat Magnus, because that is literally the last thing that I want to do is take out Magnus. After that, my bucket list for Maple Story is 110% complete, and I can die happy. That'd probably be the only regret I have if I die before completing that. Is damn, I didn't get to beat Magnus. That's it. Slowly but surely over the years, I've been working towards it, leveling up when it's available. Getting on playing about 24 hours a year, slowly but surely making it. Now, if they ever say the servers are going to close down, I am going to cry my absolute ass off and then bust my ass trying to get everything done. I probably won't sleep for about 5 days straight. And will be pushing out every single second of my life trying to level up or at least learn Magnus strategies to get him down to get that done. As of now, things are chill. People are still playing the game. Everything's all happy. So, phew. And even if they did say something about closing their damn servers down, I'd probably start a GoFundMe, raise a shit ton of money, and just send them the money. Like, give me another year. I ain't beat Magnus yet. We're serving shutting down next month. Like, no, 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 gun for GoFundMe. I would go to every single YouTuber's channel and be like, post this. Please save my goddamn game. I will go to the goddamn news. I will go wherever I need to go. I will hit up Elon Musk. I will hit up Bill Gates. I will hit up the Amazon dude that I can't think of right now. I will hit up everybody. I'll hit up Will Smith if I have to. Like, give me this money, bro. Give me this money. This game is my life. Anyway, all talks aside, Maple Story is a good game, especially if you're younger and have a friend base that's into MMORPGs. Very worth a look up. If you're older, you're definitely going to have to play with friends. It is fun. It's good to pass the time if you're into that type of thing. But it does get kind of grindy, and if you don't have anybody to talk to kind of pass the time and split the workload, then definitely if you're older, you're going to have a hard time keeping focus on that particular thing. But I mean, you also have work and other things to focus on too. So I mean, the grind really won't be that bad because you won't be able to completely do a successful grind out. I mean, you can if you're spending all your time grinding, but I hope you're not. Hope you're, doing the events and things that they have and having fun. Events are there for people that like events. Communication things are there for those of people like that. You can even get married in the game for people that like that. You can grind if that's your, thing. You can go bossing if that's your particular shtick. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do and all different ways to do them. There's special events that pop up hourly. Some, I swear, every 10 minutes. There's all kinds of things. As you're grinding, The areas that you're in are going to become corrupted. Runes will appear, bosses. The area will start to change a little bit. Or the enemies will start to change. The background will start to change. You'll eventually get a boss if you let enough evil energy build up from just grinding. A lot of things are put into this game. And a lot of ideas, a lot of things, and I think it was very highly successful. And the best thing about it is it's free. It's free. I can't believe they put so much time and money in a game and made it free. Obviously, they make monies off of cosmetics and extra things like that, but it's free. It's free. Maple Story. Free. That's what blows me away. I would have gladly paid $100 for Maple Story. Gladly. But it's free. That blows me away how so much time and effort can go into something and it be free. Crazy. Anyway, thank you anybody stopping by and listening to what I'm saying. As always, supplement your lifestyle, and I will see you next time. I will hopefully be back today to do a Dead by Daylight review. Um, I won't be on tomorrow. Obviously, I have things planned for the entire day, or at least the majority of the day. So I will not be on. But today, my schedule's for the most part free. I'm just going to add the finishing touches on the prison is what I'm working on in that picture I showed you earlier. And that's about it. I'm Q. As always, supplement your lifestyle, and I'll see you next time.